Hello students, I am Dr. Janendra Jain, working as professor in Department of Pharmacy, Ramesh Institute of Vocational and Technical Education, Greater Noida. Today I will be covering the 7th semester subject Instrumental Method of Analysis, having subject code BP701T, and in today's lecture I will be discussing about the working of UV visible spectroscopy, in which we will be seeing in detail how the UV visible spectrophotometer operates, and we also see what are the components of UV visible spectrophotometer. In today's lecture, we will be able to understand about the various components of UV visible spectrophotometer, and we will also get insight into various sample holders, detectors and other devices used in UV visible spectrophotometer. In my previous class, I have already discussed about the various components starting from light sources, the light sources which are used in UV range, the light sources used in visible range, monochromator, prism monochromator, grating monochromator, and then afterwards now I will be discussing about the another component, that is sample holder. This sample holder we also call it as a cuvette. We also call it as a cuvette, or we also call it as a sample holder. So, if we see the diagram, we have various types of sample holders. The basic job of sample holder is to hold the sample which we have prepared in the form of a solution or even in the form of a turbid solution, that is hold in the sample holder, and that we call it as a cuvette. So, various types of cuvettes which are used in UV visible spectroscopy. The most widely used is open top normal with lead. The another cuvettes, the stoppered normal, stoppered semi micro, cylindrical, then tall micro, then minimum height micro, sampling micro, semi micro flow and demountable flow. Out of these, this cuvette is the most widely used sample holder in UV visible spectroscopy. Now, if you see the shape of this cuvette, it is a rectangular shape, and this part is called as path length. So, as we have seen in Lambert-Beer's law, A is equal to A into B into C, where B is path length, and generally it is considered equal to 1 centimeter. So, we can say that the dimensions of cuvette is 1 centimeter. So, if we see in this diagram, this is the path length and this path length is 1 centimeter. So, if you see the Lambert-Beer's law, this B equals to 1 centimeter. So, A is equal to A into C. This is a constant, small a is a constant. So, this equation turns A is equal to A into C, and it can be written as A is directly proportional to C. That means, absorbance is directly proportional to concentration, and that is what is exactly we are talking in Lambert-Beer's law. So, when we say A is directly proportional to C, so what we are doing? We are preparing different concentrations. Let us take an example from 10 microgram per ml to 50 microgram per ml, means we will have 5 different concentrations 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50 microgram per ml. And then we are determining absorbance of each solution, and then we are plotting a graph between absorbance and concentration. So, if everything is fine, we will get a straight line passing through origin, and this straight line we are calling it as a calibration curve. This part we will be seeing in when we will be discussing about applications of UV visible spectroscopy. Coming to the material which is used for construction of cuvettes, as we can see, we have covered the 3 different regions: UV, visible and infrared. As far as the material is concerned, we have lithium fluoride, then we have fused silica or quartz. This is the most widely used material. Then we have Corex glass, silicate glass, they are the material used for visible region. So, as you can see from the diagram itself that fused silica or quartz, it is transparent in UV and visible region. So, it can be used for UV as well as visible region. When we talk of glass, both Corex and silicate glass, they are only transparent in visible region, but they are not transparent in UV region. So, since they are not transparent in UV region, they cannot be used in UV spectroscopy. So, they are better used for visible spectroscopy, or we also call it as a colorimetry. The other materials are concerned, we have sodium chloride, then silver chloride, potassium bromide. They are the materials used for NIR, that is near infrared, then IR, that is infrared, and FIR, that is far infrared. These are the materials which are used in infrared spectroscopy, where we are preparing a palette. Here we are preparing a palette by mixing sodium chloride or silver chloride or potassium bromide. All of them, they are anhydrous in nature. So, they are mixed with the sample, and then that sample is pressed to form a palette under very high pressure, and then that palette is kept in the light, it is kept in the light path. So, where we are getting the spectra of particular compound. So, these materials, that is sodium chloride and potassium bromide, they are transparent in infrared region. The next component is detector. Its job is very simple. Whatever signals they are coming from sample, those signals are to be analyzed by detector. So, its job is pretty simple, to gather the information from sample and then convert it into a measurable quantity. Detector is also called as a transducer. It is a device that converts the various types of physical and chemical properties like light intensity, pH, mass and temperature into the electrical signals, which are in the form of voltage, charge, current, that can be subsequently amplified, manipulated and finally converted into numbers proportional to the magnitude of original signal. So, if I talk about the spectrophotometer, so we have light source followed by monochromator followed by sample followed by detector. So, here the job of detector is to gather the information from sample. As far as the properties of detectors are concerned, there are different ideal properties that a detector is supposed to possess. First property is high sensitivity, that means detector should be highly sensitive to the signals which are coming from sample. So, even if the amount of signals they are less from the sample, those lesser amount of signals they are also supposed to be captured by detector. Detector should have linear response, that means whatever amount of signal is coming from the sample, it has to be directly proportional to the signal which is shown by detector. If the amount is less, then the measurable quantity by detector should be less. If the amount of signal is more, so similarly the signal quantity by the detector should also be more. So, there should be a linear relationship between amount of signal coming from sample and the output of the detector. Third property, low background noise, that means detector should have low electrical noise level. It should produce an electrical signal that can be easily amplified, but at the same time it should have low electrical noise level. The fourth component is high S by N ratio. Here S means signal and N means noise. N means noise. So, when I say signal, that means the signal which is coming from sample. When I say noise, that means signal coming from every component other than sample. Now, what is the meaning of this high S by N ratio? That means S should be as high as possible and N should be as low as possible. तो जितना ज़्यादा सिग्नल होगा, मतलब जितना ज़्यादा सैंपल से सिग्नल्स डिटेक्टर के पास आएंगे, उतना रिजल्ट जो है वो बेटर होगा, और जितना कम नॉइज होगा, वी ऑल्सो कॉल इट्स जैसे ghost radiation. This I have already talked about in my previous lectures. What is the meaning of ghost radiation? So, N should be as less as possible, whereas S should be as high as possible. Then last one, it should be robust in nature, means it should be mechanically tough and hard. The detectors, they are classified into two major categories. One is the photon detector, which is based on photon sensitivity, and second one is thermal detector, which is based on heat sensitivity. So, if I talk about photon detectors, they are based on interaction of radiation with the surface to produce electrons, or even if that interaction results in promotion of electron to higher energy state, where they can conduct the electricity, that means photoconduction. So, photon detectors, there are two different mechanisms, one which is responsible for generation of electrons and other which is responsible for promotion of electrons. Only UV visible and near infrared regions, they have energy content that is sufficient to cause photoemission. Thus, these are limited to wavelength shorter than about 2000 nanometer, whereas the photoconductors, they can be used in near, mid and far infrared regions, because the amount of energy required is less. You can see from the table the types of detectors, the types of photon detectors. We have photon detector and then thermal detector. Photon detectors are of 4 types: phototube, photomultiplier tube, silicon photodiode and photoconductive cells, ranging from 150 nanometer to 50,000 nanometer. So, these are the detectors used for UV visible spectroscopy, and when I talk about the other category, that is thermal detector, it consists of thermocouple, bolometer, pneumatic cell and pyroelectric cells. They are used for infrared spectroscopy. The most common detector used in UV visible spectroscopy is photomultiplier tube. As we say, it is multiplication, means it is amplification. It is mainly used for low radiant powers, means जब सैंपल से जो सिग्नल आ रहा है, अगर उसका वो वीक है नेचर में, कमज़ोर है नेचर में, तो उस सिग्नल को भी आसानी से ट्रेस आउट करने का जो काम करता है वो करता है फोटो मल्टीप्लायर ट्यूब. और फोटो मल्टीप्लायर ट्यूब जो है वो सबसे ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल होने वाला डिटेक्टर है यूवी विजिबल स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी के अंदर. As far as its construction is known, it consists of a photoemissive cathode which is coated with cesium oxide, and it is coupled with a series of electron multiplying devices which we call it as a dynode. So, dynode का मतलब हो गया electron multiplier. इलेक्ट्रॉन मल्टीप्लायर, तो उसका जॉब है जो भी सिग्नल उसके पास आएगा उसको इनफाइनाइट नंबर से मल्टीप्लाई करना है ताकि वो सिग्नल इतना बड़ा हो जाए कि उसको आसानी से एक मेजरेबल क्वांटिटी में डिटेक्ट किया जा सके. ये सारे के सारे डायनोड्स एक दूसरे से एक स्पेसिफिक वोल्टेज डिफरेंस पे अरेंज किए होते हैं और हर वोल्टेज डिफरेंस उसके मल्टीप्लिकेशन के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल होता है. सो यू कैन सी यूजुअली एक फोटोन के लिए लगभग 10⁻⁶ to 10⁻�7 इलेक्ट्रॉन्स दे आर जनरेटेड. You can see from the diagram, this is incoming photon, this is coming from sample, it is falling on the cathode, cathode generates electron. यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं ये जो सिंगल एरो जो है, सिंगल येलो कलर की जो लाइन है, इट इज़ ए 1 इलेक्ट्रॉन, and then you can see this is dynode, this is first dynode, then this is second dynode, this is third dynode, this is fourth dynode, this is fifth dynode, sixth dynode and seventh dynode, and finally, the total response is collected by anode. So, you can imagine that a single electron is getting multiplied how many times. So, there is infinite multiplication of the weaker signal which is coming from the sample, and it results into a multiplied signal which can be easily detected. The only problem with photomultiplier tube, it generates lot of amount of heat. So, you cannot operate photomultiplier tube at room temperature. तो जब भी यूवी विजिबल स्पेक्ट्रोफोटोमीटर आपको ऑपरेट करना होगा तो आपको उसको ऑपरेट करना पड़ेगा अंडर कूल कंडीशंस. It cannot be operated at room temperature because the photomultiplier tube, it results in generation of lot of amount of heat. If we see the second type of detector is the barrier layer or photovoltaic detector. It is a very simple detector. This device measures the intensity of photons by means of the voltage developed across the semiconductor layer. So, if you see the diagram, this is a semiconductor layer. Now, these are the radiations coming from sample. These radiations, they interact with semiconductor, results in generation of electron. Those electrons, they are collected by semi transparent silver layer, and then it results in flow of electric current. So, if you see the amount of electric current is directly proportional to signal from sample. With this diagram, we can say that there is no multiplication. So, since there is no multiplication, it cannot be used for weak signals, and that is why it is not a preferred detector for UV visible spectroscopy. It can only be used for visible region with maximum sensitivity at 550 nanometer. Advantages: it is a low cost instrument, requires no external power supply and provides readily measured response at high intensity. I am talking of high intensity because it needs lot of amount of radiations. Disadvantage: since there is no multiplication, there is no amplification, so cannot be used for weaker signals. The third type of detector is silicon photodiode. It is based on reverse biased p-n junction, which is formed on the silicon chip. The reverse bias, it creates a depletion layer that reduces the conductance of the junction to nearly 0, and when the radiation from the sample is falling on the chip, it causes holes and electrons generation, and that generation causes breaking down of the junction, and that breaking down, it results in electric current, and that amount is directly proportional to signal coming from sample. So, I will say it is a better detector compared to the photovoltaic cell, but less sensitive than photomultiplier tube. And the last detector is photodiode array detector. This is again, I will say, the most widely used detector after photomultiplier tube. इसके साथ एडवांटेज क्या है? Now as it says array, array means अरेंजमेंट. तो इसके अंदर जो फोटो डायोड्स हैं वो सीरीज वाइज अरेंज्ड होते हैं और हर डायोड जो है, हर डायोड एक अलग वेवलेंथ को जो है डिटेक्ट करता है. सो दैट मीन्स व्हाट, इट कैन डिटेक्ट और इट कैन मॉनिटर मेनी वेवलेंथ्स एट अ सिंगल टाइम. तो यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं देर आर मेनी वेवलेंथ्स, देर आर मल्टीपल वेवलेंथ्स which can be detected. That means what? We can have multiple wavelengths detection at one time. It is mainly used for determining peak purity. It quantify peak with an interfering peak. आपको एक particular lambda max की peak जो है अगर उसके अंदर interfering peak भी है उसके बावजूद भी उसकी presence में एक पर्टिकुलर लैम्बडा मैक्स की पिक जो है वो इंडिकेट करता है एंड विच इज इट्स मेजर एडवांटेज. इट हेल्प्स इन कंपाउंड आइडेंटिफिकेशन एंड इट मॉनिटर कंपाउंड्स विथ डिफरेंट यूवी लैम्बडा मैक्स. दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल विथ फोटो मल्टीप्लायर ट्यूब एंड दिस इज ऑल्सो नॉट पॉसिबल विथ अदर डिटेक्टर्स. अदर डिटेक्टर्स एट वन टाइम दे आर ओनली वर्किंग विथ सिंगल वेवलेंथ, बट photodiode array detector at one time it is working with multiple wavelengths. So, its bigger advantage, I will say it is the biggest advantage that it helps in identifying the peak purity and it is also helping in quantifying the peak purity even in presence of interfering peaks. The last component is the signal processor and readout device. It's pretty simple. It includes amplification of the electrical signal and alteration of the signal from DC to AC. So, it involves the performing of mathematical operations which includes differentiation, integration or conversion to a logarithm and convert electrical signal into the readable device. So, from signal processor and readout device we are getting the things in the form of a reading. Then if you see the types of instruments, UV visible spectrophotometer are classified into two different types. One is the single beam instrument and other is the double beam instrument. So, if you see here a single beam is passing, this is a single beam. तो यहाँ पर आप एक बार में केवल एक ही बीम पास हो रही है तो पहले आपको ब्लैंक रखना होगा, उसके बाद आपको रेफरेंस स्टैंडर्ड या सैंपल रखना होगा. जो डबल बीम इंस्ट्रूमेंट है उसमें जो चॉपर है वो बीम को दो अलग अलग उसमें डिवाइड कर रहा है. वन बीम पासिंग थ्रू रेफरेंस एंड अदर बीम पासिंग थ्रू सैंपल. So, this is the basic difference between UV visible a single beam UV visible spectrophotometer and double beam UV visible spectrophotometer. Single beam at one time only one beam will pass and double beam at one time the two beams they will be passing through reference and sample. So, I hope you should have been able to understand the various components of spectrophotometer as well as the working of single beam and double beam spectrophotometer. Thank you.